Spoiler alert.
Let's talk some spoilers. Hello, my fellow vendors. It's the Marvel Nerd 2016, and today I'm doing my Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler review. Now, I've just came out of the movie for a rewatch because, I did want to catch up to speed to what happened, and, well, on my first viewing, it was on my birthday, and my mind was very shifted away from the movie, and it was mainly spiraling around on my birthday. So yeah, so I gave it a rewatch. So now I've catched up with everything, and yeah, let's get into it. So the film opens with Deadpool humming the Marvel opening intro. Well, first everything is simple. But then at the end, he starts humming, and then he's like, "God, the Marvel intro hits hard." But yeah, that part was funny. So then we cut to Deadpool in the forest, right? And he's in surprise, surprise, the exact forest where this guy was killed at the end of Logan. Spoilers to that as well, but that movie came out like 7 years ago, so who cares? So yeah, he starts narrating and being like, "Hey, haven't seen you guys in a while. A lot has happened. The Disney and Fox acquisition and blah blah blah, and just catching up, which I didn't mind. It was nice. But then we cut straight to. But during this part, and at the end of his narration, and where he says, "Okay, how are we gonna do this? How are we going to bring back Wolverine without dishonoring the ending of Logan?" And what does he do? And then the scene cuts to Deadpool digging Wolverine's grave. And bro, during the opening scene of that movie, like in my first viewing, I was like, "Damn, I was not expecting that." I was expecting like a joke of Logan, but I wasn't expecting them to actually have him digging up his grave and taking out his adamantium skeleton. But bro, and then after that, it cuts with him like demolishing the little X which Laura did at the end of Logan. But then after that, the scene cuts to Deadpool, talking to the dead corpse of Wolverine and being like, "Man, it's great. It's so great that we're having a team up movie and stuff." And then and then he just plays with the skeleton. It goes, "Good day, mate." Bruh. I thought part of the movie, I didn't laugh, but I did thought that it was so funny. Then, meanwhile, out of nowhere, some TVA security members show up, and then they're like, "Okay, Wade Winston Wilson." Winston Wilson? I can't remember what his middle name was, but whatever. They come in, and they're like, "Your ass is arrested. Your ass is arrested because of what you did, bro. Because of what you did." So, in typical Deadpool fashion, he starts fighting off the TVA members, but he doesn't do it. And well, before he does that, he says there are I can't remember how many. There are tons of parts, a ton of parts in there are 200 and something parts of the human skeleton, and there's only a few when I watch Gossip Girl. That one did give me a smile. But then the song choice in this was so crazy. cause in these opening credits of him fighting off all those TVA members while Bye 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 was playing in the background was funny as hell. I remember I was just thinking, damn. But not just that, but this was definitely the most. I'm gonna just say this: Deadpool and Wolverine is definitely the most brutal um Deadpool movie outside of 1 and 2, because in this opening scene and how he uses Logan's um, adamantium skeleton, or not the skeleton, but like the bones, and just using them in numerous ways, and how we also see like splatters. We don't see that much like guts, thankfully, but it's mostly just splatters and just shit happening to the TVA members' groins and all this other stuff. But yeah, it was definitely a fun opening scene. I thought to myself, yep, now I know that I'm in for a treat. Now I know that I'm in for a treat, baby. Let's go. So then the scene quickly transitions to Wade Wilson in HQ talking to someone, but the camera soon cuts to Happy Hogan, and the label says 6 years ago, Earth 616. But yeah, I was pretty confused at first, and I was thinking, wait a minute, so is he still in the Fox universe, or did they change some stuff in with the little time watch thing which Cable gave him at the end of Deadpool 2, or I don't know, convoluted. So he starts talking to Happy Hogan about him joining the Avengers and how he desperately wants to because he needs to. And then Happy is like, nah, dude, the reason why the Avengers are the Avengers is not because they need to join, or they need to. It's because the people need them. Like, children look up to us and stuff. And I don't know if you could become an Avenger. And plus, you kind of taking things a bit too high. In this scene, you can spot a lot of things in the background of Happy Hogan's office. But I'm not going to go into that. Like, I'm not an Easter egg channel. I'm not gonna go like, oh, that was in the corner. This was in the corner. This was from this. This was from that. Okay, anyways. So yeah, the scene transitions to, oh my god, this scene. So yeah, in this scene, Wade Wilson, he staples up his new hair. He looks fresh as fuck, and he works at your local car dealership. So yeah, we see him working at the car dealership, and he's with this family, and the family wants to buy a new car and stuff. And so then the mother asks, so, how does the Carnival, like how is that better than the Honda Odyssey? And then Wade is like, that's because they don't fucking suck. And then she's like, okay, bro, you can say out everything without swearing. And then Wade is like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just, there's children here, and I also wanted children, but I couldn't because of bachelor sex. And bro, during that part of the movie, I didn't laugh. Like, with most of the jokes, I didn't laugh. There were some parts of the movie where I did want to laugh, but I didn't. But yeah, then after that, and after like a few moments, and also a Wade speaking to Peter about how, aw man, why don't you get out there and be a superhero again? And then Wade's like, nah, look, I didn't want it to live my life just working at a dealership and stuff, or somewhere down the lines of that, but, so yeah, the scene cuts to Wade and Peter walking back, to the apartment, and then we see someone taking a picture of Wade, and Peter. Um, and it was at like a little construction site. Um, so then Peter's like, "Are you feeling Rumpelstiltskin, or is it your birthday?" And bro, when I watched this movie the first time, and knowing that I was watching the movie on my birthday, I was thinking to myself, "Why, yes, it is my birthday." But not just that, but it's also my boy Deadpool's birthday. Um, so yeah, they walk in, and we get the whole uh birthday party scene, which we have seen glimpses of in the trailers, and we do see him talk to a dopender who sadly doesn't get that much screen time. I was pretty disappointed that that my boy Dopender wasn't in the movie, but it makes sense. Like, this is called Deadpool and Wolverine, not Deadpool and Dopender. Even though, to be honest, I would actually want to see that. Yeah. Oh, anyways, moving on. So yeah, we see him talking to everybody at the party, and there is one which is pretty important to the story, and and it was him talking to Vanessa, and how, he just really wants to reconnect with Vanessa and stuff, but not just that. But in this, Vanessa was even saying, "Oh yeah, I'm also seeing like a different guy and blah blah blah." Or not seeing a different guy, but oh my god, this guy is kind and stuff. And I've also been living in this and blah blah blah. But yeah, but the one part which confuses me a bit is, okay, I forgot to mention this earlier on, but um, you know how I mentioned that in the Happy Hogan and Wade Wilson interview, or not interview, uh, during that scene, it opens with Earth 616. But then 6 years later, Earth 1005, yeah, 1005, something like that. And I was thinking to myself, what? How did he go from this universe? How did he go from 616 to 1005? I I feel like they didn't establish that much, or how he bounced into one universe to another, or I don't know, maybe he resetted everything, or I don't know. I don't know. It's confusing. It's anyways. So yeah, after the talking, and after and after Wade blows out his candles, someone knocks at the door. Who could it be? So then he walks up to the door, and it's none other than the TVA, and they say, from the time variance of 40s, you're arrested from all the multiverse ping ponging, or not ping ponging, but it's somewhere down the lines of that, or somewhere similar to that. But bruh, he he makes a joke about Pretty Woman, and he even says, "Okay, this ain't Pretty Woman. Y'all gonna take your clothes up," and then, okay, I forgot, but it's something pretty inappropriate. But yeah, whatever. They take him in, um, and we meet Mr. Paradox, who is, part of me wants to say like a villain, I guess, because Mr. Paradox, like, he starts explaining that, well, he doesn't start explaining straight away, but he starts telling Wade, oh yeah, so your universe isn't really a well stabled, but not just that, but your universe at the moment, it's all over the place, it's all squiggly biggly, and Spider-Man 2099 canon shit, kind of, just kind of. So then, he starts explaining, um, about well, not the multiverse, but how his universe isn't stable, and how he could go into a completely different universe. But the reason why his universe is messed up is because the anchor of that universe is dead. So there's nothing to hold it, which is pretty ironic considering the Fox universe wasn't really like the last few Fox 20th Century Fox X-Men movies weren't really the best. I'm looking at you, Dark Phoenix. Anyways, so then he starts mentioning about before he starts mentioning that, he starts showing him like little clipses of the Avengers, like the past few MCU movies, like Age of Ultron and a few other scenes, and then after that, he starts making this really funny joke where he breaks the fourth wall, and then he says this, "Suck it, Fox. I'm going to Disneyland," and then breaks the camera. That scene was so funny. Well, I didn't laugh at that scene, but the first time when I watched the movie, my audience was giggling at that scene, even my girlfriend too. But then out of nowhere he starts discussing his little evil plan, and where he says, and also, since the anchor of your universe is dead, I'm going to use the time killer, not time killer, time. I'm going to use the time killer to destroy your timeline, and me, I will become the head of the TVA. And bruh, I was thinking to myself, okay, this is a bit cliche. This is very cliche, especially since Mr. Paradox doesn't show up for the rest of the second act. But then he does show up at the end of the third act, and that's it. That's literally it. Like, we don't get any glimpses of him, so he was kind of forgettable. Hell, I even forgot that he was in the movie up until the final act. Anyways, so then, oh yeah, I forgot to mention him suiting up and then discussing his evil plan. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so he's there. And then Deadpool is like, okay, fine, I accept it. But then he doesn't. So then he's like, but right after I break your nose and steal your Amazon Fire phone and go universe to universe to find this guy. So yeah, and that's what he does. And then he takes the tempad. I don't know, those little dimension travel things from Loki. So he uses those, or his, and we get this really funny montage scene of him going from universe to universe finding a Wolverine, and bruh, they even make a joke about comic accurate Wolverine and how short he is, and bruh, in that scene, I was smiling and I was like, yep, I see what they're going with, and Not just that, but there were a ton of Wolverine variants, which Deadpool went into during this montage. Like there was one where he had like this giant hair, like black suit with the red X. I'm not sure which one this is. Like, I don't read that much comics. Well, I do read a few, but I haven't read like the OG Wolverine comics. But no, but not just that. But there's even one where he has the classic suit, the classic brown and yellow suit. But not just that. But you know who shows up? Hulk. And since Wolverine and the Hulk is a pretty iconic fight, we didn't get to see that long, but it was pretty fun seeing Hulk, in action. But yeah, but it was only like a quick moment. But yeah, but then we also get Captain Wolverine, or not Captain Wolverine, but he has the eye patch. We even get old Wolverine with the shotgun, and and we even get Jesus Wolverine. Well, he's not Jesus Wolverine. It's just like the reason why I'm calling him Jesus Wolverine is because he's on top of like an X, which is similar to the. Y'all get the gist. Y'all get the gist. Then he runs into the Wolverine. In the bar, but in this universe, I'm not sure if it's like a Sentinel attack, or maybe not a Sentinel attack, but I don't know, or maybe it's in like a universe where every human just hates mutants, which is pretty ironic considering most of the X-Men stories it's humans hating mutants, so kind of makes sense. But anyways, Deadpool shows up. Um, he he does make a good entrance on Wolverine. I can't remember what he said. But he does go, "Okay, what's up? I know you don't know me, but I know you, and you gotta help me fix my world, or not fix my world, but like save the people which I love and stuff." But then Wolverine is like, "Look, lady, I ain't got time for you. I'm dealing with all of this. I don't know. I ain't got time for you. I ain't got time for you. You feel me?" Okay, he doesn't say that, but whatever. So then Deadpool's like, "Okay, I'm on the tick tick." The bartender is like, "Okay, are you guys gonna fight, or are you guys gonna fuck or something?" So then Wolverine's like, "Whatever." But then Deadpool's like, "Are you really gonna take that man's words?" So then, after all the talking, in typical oh yeah, I'm that bad boy Wolverine, bitches. He grabs out a huge bottle of alcohol and starts chugging that shit down. And then Deadpool's like, "Okay, don't worry, don't worry. But audiences are not that accustomed to very long run times, even though the movie is 2 hours and 7 minutes." Well, which he doesn't mention that, but that would have been funny if he would have mentioned the runtime for the film. But then after all of the alcohol drinking, he checks what was under his jacket, and he had the suit, the iconic yellow and blue suit. And bro, later on in the movie, it gets even more crazy. But then he's like, "Oh my god, you got the yellow blue suit after 20 fucking years." And then he just stares at the camera, and I was thinking, yeah, exactly. Like, bro, why did they do that to Wolverine? Why did they do that to my boy Wolverine? Then he heads back to the TVA, and then Deadpool's like, "Okay, I found the anchor, bitches." So then I think Mr. Paradox, like, he goes, "No, but you can't do that. That's gonna mess up the timeline and blah blah blah." So then Deadpool's like, "Oh man, fuck you." So then he goes up to him, starts attacking him, but then he prunes him, and then Wolverine wakes up, and then he's like, "Whoa, what the fuck did you do to him?" So then he starts to attack Mr. Paradox, and he also prunes him as well. So then they end up in the void. So yeah, overall, I thought the first act of the movie did a great job of introducing Deadpool and catching up on what happened and how he got in trouble with the TVA. My problem personally in this movie is the story. I don't think it's well written, especially since Deadpool wanted to join the Avengers to get back with Vanessa. And also, I was confused on how, within those 6 years, and how the hell did he travel to a different universe? That part confused me. So, let's get into my thoughts of the second act of the movie, aka the juicy stuff. So Deadpool and Wolverine have a pretty brutal fight, which I thought was well shot and well choreographed. At times they did feel shaky, but overall it was nice and smooth. So then we get another cameo, who is none other than Chris Evans, and unfortunately I already knew who it was. I already knew that it wasn't Captain America. Considering somebody spoiled the Human Torch cameo for me. So then in Mad Max style, some of the side villains from the previous X-Men movies show up, and I was pretty disappointed that they didn't bring back Ian McKellen as Magneto, because this would have been a perfect opportunity for him to return, especially since this is like the goodbye letter to the 20th Century Fox X-Men movies. So then there's a funny scene where Deadpool is like, "Oh my God, he's about to say it! He's about to say it! Avengers!" And then the Human Torch says, "Flame on!" And then he's like, "What?" Okay, that part of the movie was funny. But like I said earlier on about me already knowing that was the Human Torch, because I had this feeling in my gut that he was going to say "flame on," and he did, and yeah, it was pretty funny. We got to see some action from him, which was really cool, and as someone who has never seen any of the OG Fantastic Four movies, it felt pretty cool seeing him in action, especially since the old films, they came out in in the 2000s, and the way how he was flying was really cool. So yeah, after some Human Torch action, we see the return of Pyro. And then Pyro, he absorbs the Human Torch's flame powers. And in my first viewing, I didn't recognize that it was Pyro. Because to be honest, the guy looked very unrecognizable. Like, I'm not sure if it's either because of how young he looked in the previous OG X-Men movies, or maybe it was the beard. But at first I didn't even recognize that it was Pyro, and then I was like, "What? Really? That's him? That's him?" But then when I watched it the second time, then I did look at his face, and then my brain was like, "Oh, that's him. That was Pyro. Oh, but it sucks that they didn't bring back Iceman. That would have been cool. That would have been cool if they would have brought back a Iceman. Or like maybe if Iceman could have showed up as like a quick little cameo and be like, "Yo, what's up?" And then maybe they could have had a bit of a fight there. But no, I think it would have been a bit too much, especially since we see the Juggernaut. But sadly, he doesn't say, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch." But that would have been funny. That would have been funny, honestly. So then after all the introduction of the previous X-Men side villains, we see Sabretooth fighting Wolverine, and I did like the fight scene. it was cool, but I do wish that it was a little bit longer. Um, because Wolverine, like, he decapitates Sabretooth, like, just like that, straight away, like, pop, 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 pop. Done. Um, but yeah, then after all the shenanigans, um, Wolverine and Deadpool, they get abducted. They start talking a bit, and then Johnny Storm starts telling Deadpool and Wolverine about Eliath, and then Deadpool is like, "Oh, Eliath from Loki season 1, episode 5." Although I didn't laugh out loud during that joke, um, I was thinking to myself, well, it's a good thing I did my homework, or that I already did my MCU homework. Um, but my cinema didn't laugh, and and I remember, I think my girlfriend was like, what? I need to mute my phone. But yeah, overall, I thought the reintroduction of all of the past 2000s X-Men villains, or side villains, or whatever you want to call them, I thought it was alright. Although we didn't get any, you know, big ones, or like, big ones that would make fans go scream, like I mentioned, Ian McKellen's Magneto. But yeah, it was nice seeing them. But later on we get even better cameos, which I am going to mention later on in the video, but then I'm going to mention other things, and then I'm going to get to that, so yeah. So then after all the shenanigans, we get the introduction of Cassandra Nova, and personally, I think Cassandra Nova did have potential to be a menacing villain, but overall, I don't think she was well written either. Um, Especially because her goal is to, like, similar to Mr. Paradox's goal, is to get to the little timeline ripper, and I don't know, destroy destroy all universes and shit. No, but not just that, but oh my goodness. So you guys know how Professor X reads minds. He uses Cerebro. But for Cassandra Nova, um she has to put her hand, like morph her hand and do like this weird hand thing with the head. And honestly, it was pretty disturbing to watch. Well, when she did it with Deadpool, I didn't mind it too much, because it was just Deadpool wearing a mask. It wasn't that disturbing. But later on in the movie, when when she does it to Wolverine, and then, oh my god, I with Mr. Paradox, oh my god, when she did it with Mr. Paradox, me and my girlfriend, like, we were like, ah, that's nasty, that shit nasty. And I understand why why she has to do that, just to read people's minds, and just to get into them, and just to do the whole Enchantress Suicide Squad thing, where she's like, I know what you want, exactly what you want. Well, it felt similar to that, honestly. But yeah, after all of that, and after some pretty depressing shit, where where Cassandra Nova just guilt trips poor old Deadpool, and she freaking kills the Human Torch because of him shit talking her on the way um to the dead Ant-Man. And don't know why it wasn't shown. Well, just to keep the runtime smooth, which makes sense. But there is a post credit scene about it later on, and and bro, me and my girlfriend chuckled. But yeah, but the way how she kills the Human Torch, she does it in a way where she removes all the skin, and it's pretty I don't want to say gruesome, but it was kind of gruesome. And it's like how I said earlier on in this video that Deadpool and Wolverine is the most gory compared to the other two, because in the other two, it doesn't show that much detail. But yeah, after that, Deadpool and Wolverine they escape by going on a leg of a sentinel. Like a part of me was thinking that that's like a leg of a sentinel, but then another part of me is like, I don't know. And then after that, we got to learn about Wolverine and his goals and how humans are frowned upon mutants in a diner scene. And I liked how we got some detail and character development for this alternative Wolverine. I I feel like it gave the character more growth and development, and knowing why he's he's not really like the hero type, and also why humans are frowned upon mutants, which is, like I said, it's pretty typical for this X-Men centric story, but it is what it is. But yeah, and I'm also glad that in this movie they don't treat Wolverine as just like another nostalgia cameo, or not even not even a nostalgia cameo, especially since the title is literally called Deadpool and Wolverine. So he's front and center as well alongside Deadpool. So he's not like another, hey everybody, y'all haven't seen me since Logan, so yeah, let's kick some ass with Deadpool. And yeah, and I'm only there just because, I'm doing this for the fans who watched my movies back in the 2000s. So then after the diner scene, we get the introduction of Dogpool and Nicepool, played by Gordon Reynolds, who I thought was a pretty funny character, and Mary Poppins as someone who loves dogs. Every time she was on screen, I had a massive smile on my face. So then after all the shenanigans, Nicepool offers Deadpool and Wolverine to drive on his Honda Odyssey. And then after some talking, Wolverine drops a complete bombshell on Deadpool by completely dissing him by saying, "You couldn't even maintain a relationship with a goddamn stripper." And then after that, Deadpool and Wolverine start having another fight in the car, and I did thought to myself, with all these fight scenes between Deadpool and Wolverine, I just constantly thought to myself, okay, since y'all both are indestructible mutants, y'all can't technically kill each other, so there's kind of no point. But again, it was funny, especially because they had like the Grease music playing in the background. So yeah, that was funny. And then, oh. Now we're gonna get into the juicy stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're gonna get into the juicy stuff of the movie. So, a mysterious someone, well, after Deadpool and Wolverine have a really funny blackout, or like, not a blackout, but they fall asleep after the fight. And then there's a mysterious someone who takes Deadpool and Wolverine to a cave, and then that mysterious somebody is none other than Elektra. And at first I didn't recognize that it was Elektra, but I was thinking, what? They got Elektra back? Oh, but not just that. But then they bring in Wesley Snipes' Blade, and Luckily, no one spoiled uh the other cameos in this movie because honestly, I should have filmed my reaction to Wesley Snipes' Blade and Channing Tatum's Gambit being in there. And bruh, I don't care what people say. Channing Tatum's Gambit, like, he looked so fresh. Like, as soon as that card popped up, I just thought to myself, no way, ain't no fucking way, it's Gambit. It's Gambit. I don't know what was with Gambit, but for some reason, like, he was making this weird sex joke where he talks about how he shot out of his dad's dick. And bruh, I was like, okay, first of all, Gambit doesn't speak like that. Gambit doesn't speak like that, so yeah. After all of that, X-23 returns, which was spoiled in the final trailer, which I didn't watch before the movie. And I'm just gonna say this. The cameos during this portion of the movie was handled very well, but not just that, but they felt more like supporting characters instead of cameos, and this was handled much better than in Multiverse of Madness, where they pop up for a quick second and then they get killed off one by one. After the cameo Palooza scene, we get a nice bonding scene with Wolverine and X-23, which was a great scene because it gave Wolverine more depth than the diner scene earlier on in the film. We get to the final battle. Well, I thought it was the final battle, but it wasn't. And during this scene, I almost wanted to scream in hype, seeing Deadpool, Wolverine, Elektra, Blade, and Gambit and X-23 together looked so badass that my Marvel brain almost exploded. But my thoughts on this scene, like I mentioned earlier, it's well choreographed and decently shot, but there is one slight problem with this scene, and that was the shaky cam. It was a bit distracting and noticeable too, but overall, the CGI is pretty good and the effects were pretty good, and the way how Blade was fighting and Elektra and Gambit and X-23 looked so cool. And yeah, and I'm just gonna say this: I'm surprised how Blade, like Wesley Snipes, he's in his 50s. And he still has the charm. He still has the, that Blade pizzazz. Even though I've never actually seen any of the Blade movies. So then X-23 fetches the Juggernaut's helmet, and then Deadpool puts on the Juggernaut's helmet, and then Deadpool puts on the Juggernaut's helmet onto Cassandra Nova, and this particular scene, like the way how it's explained that if they get the Juggernaut's helmet onto Cassandra Nova wouldn't be able to use her powers, and she wouldn't be able to use her little mind thing or that little thing that she does in the movie. This kind of reminded me of how in the previous X-Men movies, and how Magneto, like he would wear the helmet, and how Charles Xavier, the reason why he would wear the helmet so that Charles Xavier wouldn't get into his mind while he was using his cerebro and using it as like a shield. This is kind of similar to this one, so I like what they did there. I liked how they did kind of make it similar, or like they did kind of pay like an homage to the OG X-Men films. Well, after some convincing, Cassandra gives Deadpool and Wolverine a sling ring with an Infinity Stone and a Time Stone, and a part of me, like, I'm being deadass with this one, a part of me was thinking that this was going to be the end of the movie. Like, a part of me was thinking that the complete ending was just going to be Deadpool and Wolverine jumping into the portal, and they're done. They're finished. But no. But then there was another side of me where it was like, oh, wait a minute. We still got to deal with that time killer, because, you know, Deadpool's fucked, Wolverine's fucked, so y'all still gotta, you know, get that done. And also, y'all also gotta deal with Mr. Paradox as well, so, yeah, and but not just that, but during this whole entire movie, well, up until, you know, the next portion, which I'm about to talk about soon, my boy Wolverine was barely even wearing his iconic mask. And I was worried for a second. I was worried that he wasn't going to wear the mask, or he was only going to wear the mask once, and he was never going to put it on again. But luckily that doesn't happen. So then after they jump into the portal, they return back to Deadpool's main universe, aka the one that is being destroyed thanks to the time killer. And Mr. Paradox, he does show up in there, and then he's like, oh, what the fuck are you guys doing? I thought I pooned you both. So then out of nowhere, Cassandra pops into the portal, and then she does the weird mind head thing with Mr. Paradox, and she drags Mr. Paradox to the time killer. And during the scene, me and my girlfriend, we were looking away because of how disgusting it looked. But not just that, but it was showing a lot of detail of how Cassandra was mooshing, I don't know if that's even a word, mooshing with Mr. Paradox's face, and how, you know, each finger was going into the, yes, daddy, it's nasty. So then, strangely, the portal is still open, and at first I thought it was about to be another cameo for a second. I don't know, because there's been a ton of cameos, but there's already too much cameos. Well, not too much, but there's already a ton of cameos in this movie. So instead of a cameo, we get the return of Dogpool and Nicepool too. And Nicepool and Deadpool, they joke around a bit, and hell, even Nicepool breaks the fourth wall, the proposal. And this joke was pretty funny. It didn't make me laugh, but it did give me a smile on my face, like most of the jokes in this movie. So then in the portal, the entire Deadpool corp shows up, and we even get introduced to Ladypool. And at first, I thought at some point of this scene, Ladypool was going to unmask herself and reveal who she is, but she doesn't do that. And hell, people were even making speculations that Taylor Swift was going to be in this movie. But if that would have been the case, then it would have been kind of cringe. But anyways, during this scene, I thought to myself, bruh, this is Deadass, the Spider Society from across the Spider-Verse, but except instead of it being the quote-unquote Spider Society, it's the Deadpool Society, or the Dead Society. So then there's a brutal but funny scene where the Deadpool Corps was shooting straight at Nicepool. And since poor Nicepool doesn't have the can't die power, Deadpool proceeds to use Nicepool's body as a human shield. and this scene almost made me laugh. Especially when Deadpool says to Nicepool, "You are going to live! You are going to live!" And then Nicepool is like, I'm going to live! I'm going to live! Which he doesn't. So then after Nicepool's death, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. So, Wolverine puts on that fresh fucking mask, and during this scene, I was at the edge of my seat, and I was thinking to myself, finally, let's fucking go! And then we get a continuous dolly shot of Deadpool and Wolverine fighting the Deadpool Corps, which was pretty cool to see. And plus, there was even a Stanley cameo on the bus. Well, it's not really like a cameo, but it's mainly like a little Easter egg where it's like a advertisement. You can see like Stanley on the bus. Rest in peace, Stanley. And during this scene, a part of me was thinking, bruh, there's no point of killing them, because since it's all Deadpool variants, ain't they going to regenerate like after 5 seconds? And don't get me wrong, the scene was badass, but it kind of made the third act a tad bit dragged, because I was thinking to myself, bruh, don't you guys have to go after Cassandra, Nova, and Mr. Paradox? 'Cause Cassandra is deadass about to destroy your damn timeline with the timeline killer, and y'all gotta chop, which they do, 'cause after the fight, Peter shows up and ends the fight. And then Deadpool and Wolverine, they head straight to the subway, and they go straight to the timeline killer's cords, and Deadpool tries to sacrifice himself, which, honestly, it would have been good as a arc, because, you know, he did have a build-up in this movie, and to be honest, I think this would have been a decent arc for him. So then they have a nice heart-to-heart scene where Deadpool says, "You are always the best, Wolverine," which was clearly a fourth wall break. Wolverine walks in. Deadpool pushes him and decides to destroy the time killer himself. And then he grabs onto the cords. And in this scene, he does goof off a bit, like he makes like a Superman reference where he does this in the door of the window. And just like in classic Deadpool fashion, he grabs on to a cord, but he wasn't able to grab onto the other cord. So then Wolverine helps him, and then due to the energy blasts, his entire shirt rips. And bruh, Hugh Jackman is in his 50s, and this guy has the physique. But yeah, but we do get like little flashes of Wade and Vanessa and Wolverine and X-23, talking and talking earlier on in the campfire scene. No, not campfire scene, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, they defeat Cassandra Nova at the end in classic superhero movie fashion. The alternative Wolverine becomes the new anchor being for Deadpool's timeline, and yeah, I guess they're in 616, or I don't know, that wasn't really well established. And no, but not just that, but I also thought to myself, okay, if that's the case, what's gonna happen to Gambit and Blade and Elektra? Where the hell are they? Because during the final scene of the movie, we do get to see X-23 return, but Gambit and Blade and Elektra, like, they are nowhere to be seen. So again, just like a slight little nitpick. So yeah, Wade falls back in love with Vanessa, and it ends on a nice message about friendship. And yeah, and hell, during the end credits, we even get this like nice video in the credits where it's just showing all of the past X-Men movies, and it's sort of like a goodbye message and thank you for just watching all of the X-Men movies. And during the credits, I almost felt a little bit of a teary-eyed, but as someone who only started watching the X-Men films from Dark Phoenix, aka the not really good point of the franchise. But yeah, I'm really gonna miss the Fox X-Men universe, but hey, at least my homeboys Deadpool and Wolverine, they're in the MCU. And we even get this funny post-credit scene of Johnny Storm talking smack about Cassandra Nova, and I guess Deadpool's right. I guess he did diss Cassandra, and yeah. So overall, I had a ton of fun with Deadpool and Wolverine. The story was okay. It wasn't as good as the first two movies. The action was awesome to watch. At times they felt shaky, but overall it was fun to watch. The comedy in the movie was funny, although it didn't make me laugh that much as Deadpool 1, but it gave me a smile, so that's good. And the cameos in this movie completely blew me away, well, except for Johnny Storm, considering I knew. Especially Blade, who was my favorite out of the cameo bunch. And you bet your asses that I'm gonna put Deadpool and Wolverine on my best movies list next year when it's my movies of 2024 list. So yeah. And for my rating. So, Deadpool and Wolverine, it gets a solid 8.2 out of 10. I had a lot of fun watching this movie, especially on my birthday. It felt like an absolute treat watching this, and I don't think this is like the greatest movie of all time. I don't think that it's like up there with Interstellar or Forrest Gump. But it's one of those movies where you could just sit down and just have a fun time with it and not really take it, take it a little bit seriously, but not too seriously, where you're just, where you're just having fun, and that's the point with most of the Deadpool movies. You're having fun watching them, but at the same time, they are a little bit serious. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to follow my Instagram at themarvelnerd2016, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. I felt too lazy to actually make an end screen, but I'll give you guys a question. Why was Thor crying?